All right. What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in to One and a Half Mexicans. Right now, there's a lot of news to talk about and very little time. Let's just get into the election. All right, Cyrus. What does Joe Biden's win mean for America right now?
Pretty much the same as every election. Pretty much nothing.
What do you mean nothing?
Well, of course, on the surface, he is going to change a lot of stuff, like he's definitely going to roll back a lot of the stuff that Trump did. But for the overall view of America, not much is going to change, especially for people like you and me, where we're minorities and we're people that live in lower class we're in the lower class. So people like us, not much is going to change, even though that Biden seems on the surface, he seems like the person that would change stuff for us.
I'll have to disagree with you on that. You know why? Because Biden will actually ensure a lot of the safety nets that the government provides to the LGBTQ community, the minority community, will actually be insured to stay. Gay marriage would stay, DACA would stay, other immigration protections would stay. You know,
Yeah, of course that stuff would stay. And I guess, you're trying to bring up the point that that Trump and his team were trying to get rid of that stuff, but I don't think they ever would have gotten rid of it because that would have definitely led to some type of civil war.
I mean, I wouldn't say civil war because you have the U.S. military against the American people, and with the amount of money we spend on that shit, it's just too much. They probably kill all the American people before they run out of bullets.
Yeah, but people they're just gonna have to. People want to fight for. Well, they don't want to, but people will fight for their rights if they have to, even if it leads to a lot of casualties.
I mean, that's what we did in the American Civil War, but does that really mean that we should fight for what we believe for?
I'm not saying
Is
that we
I
should
mean,
fight.
it's I mean, we have
I
the First Amendment that gives us the freedom to assemble and protest. We don't have to actually go out and fight a war. We could just use that amendment
I
to
know
our
we don't have to
advantage.
go out and fight, and I don't want to go out and fight. But if there's a drastic change to America where it's going to lead to somebody losing a lot of their rights, or even something where they perceive a lot of their rights are going to be lost, they're going to go out and fight for it. Whether or not if it's reasonable, they're going to end up fighting for it because they believe they're losing their humanity. They're losing their for what some of them there is their God given right.
Do you believe Joe Biden is the man for the people?
No.
All right. Um, I was more of a Andrew Yang fan when he was running for president, but uh, I think Joe Biden was really the only person that could have beaten Trump, in my opinion. I mean, I could fantasize about
Yeah,
a
because
Yang presidency all day, but in reality, Biden would have been the only one to beat Donald Trump.
yeah, everybody else was too far left.
I mean, I wouldn't say far left; they're just progressive and, in the terms of Fox News, communists.
I
You know.
mean, Fox isn't wrong.
Fox isn't real news. We just
Yeah, but this is America. We don't have real news.
yeah, we do.
Who?
Who?
Because if you say
NPR?
CNN,
What? CNN is more. It's left leaning, but it's more moderate.
I guess, but it's still definitely biased.
Yeah, sure. Yes, dude. What news agency isn't biased? Tell me. That's right.
Good question.
That's right. That's right.
We should
So
start up one.
see, but we get two different perceptions of Trump, and Biden. You know, Fox News perceives Trump as this some sort of messiah that God sent down to save the American people, while much of left leaning news sites they just view Trump as like this. You know, they view him as like this person that all he wants is to cause his destruction, which I don't know. Like, sure, it could be exaggerated, but it's not really that exaggerated. At least in my opinion,
uh,
it isn't. I mean, you're more
of
libertarian,
of
so
course Trump,
I feel like
yeah,
you know
but
you're like distrust of government and the media is like really in there, ingrained in your psyche. So I don't know.
yeah. But when it comes to Trump, he, of course, he wasn't good. I didn't like him either. But from what I've been seeing, like on the news and how people are reacting of Biden winning, people are acting like he was well, I guess you could say some of his ideas and how he acted was authoritarian, but in the greater sense of things, he couldn't be authoritarian because of how the US government was set up. Of course, I didn't want him in office either, but I wouldn't be going out in the streets celebrating and everything because for one, it's a pandemic, and two, I feel like it wasn't that much of a big deal.
It actually was a big deal because much of the minority community, the LGBT community, the religious community that are not mainly Catholic or Christian, they're it was actually a really good day for them because at least Biden. A lot of people didn't even like Biden; they just settled for him because he wasn't Trump, you know. And
And that's
because of
every
that, they
election.
started. What happened?
I said that's every election.
And that's how it shouldn't be, you know. Election shouldn't be
Yeah.
like that. Joe Biden shouldn't have been the nominee, but he was, and he at least he won, but he shouldn't. He's too old. Much of what he lived in a different generation. He's older than a boomer, Cyrus.
He's older than Trump.
He's older than Trump, and Trump is older than a boomer. So,
Yeah.
so this is where it really comes down to like, do we really want old people representing a majority young demographic? You know, does will he represent our values? Will he represent, you know, us as a society? That's the really big picture. A Biden presidency wouldn't be it would be boring, yet it would be relieving compared to the Trump presidency where we had breaking news every hour because of something he did.
The
Eh,
best thing that so far, the best thing that I see coming out of the Biden presidency is that nothing bad will necessarily happen,
It'd be relatively calm like Obama.
I
And
guess. Unless if
probably
you're overseas.
right wing media would probably like exaggerate some story like, oh, he wore a tan suit. Oh, he put Dijon mustard on his burger. He's a communist. You know,
Yeah, they were really they were really stretching out when they were talking about that tan suit. Like, how conservative are you that you complain about a president wearing a tan suit?
Reagan wore a tan suit, and they idolize. They no, they worship Reagan as a god. You know.
Yeah. And as a side note, I think tan suits are actually better looking than black suits, black and white
Oh,
suits.
we're not gonna argue about suits. We don't want to get on a full virtual fist fight because of suits, Cyrus.
We don't want to get canceled.
We're not gonna get canceled by Fox News. The people that say that they are against cancel culture.
They cancel culture
I guess,
just
yeah,
so
but
that
they
they could
cancel people
become the
that.
cancel culture.
But I'm just glad Biden won. You know, and Biden
Yeah,
winning is also a step in the right direction for a better candidate. You know, I mean,
I suppose.
what candidates are you thinking right now?
Um, so far out of the people that I've seen, I'm somewhat with you on Yang.
Right. So Yang is economically and socially better for the US. But the only
Yeah.
problem is he's Asian, so much of what Obama experienced in 2008, Yang would experience in either 2024 or 2028, whenever he wants to run again.
Are
You know,
people
so
more discriminatory against Asians than they are black people?
I don't think as much as black people, but I think they're still discriminatory.
I mean, yeah, of course, because they're still a minority, but I feel like I feel like it will be easier for Yang to get in, especially since it's gonna be what, like over a decade since when Obama went for president.
Right. And I feel like Biden could actually be a really great president depending on who he appoints as cabinet. If
Uh,
he appoints progressives and I would say moderate leaning Democrats and Republicans, I feel like they can make a homogenous cabinet. You know, because
yeah,
a lot of what brings politics or destroys politics is partisanship. And if you just create a bipartisan government where your cabinet is a mix between, you know, progressives, Democrats, and Republicans, I feel like they could make a lot of change. Right now, Mitch McConnell's trying to prevent Biden from having a progressive cabinet, which isn't, which is technically normal Mitch McConnell, you know, trying to fuck with the Democratic presidents, you know, because that's
yeah,
his job or whatever. It's like he appointed himself to do that, you know, to do all harm, make presidents look useless. That's what he did with Obama, you know, like uh the Republicans' main argument was Obama didn't do anything for 8 years, but most of the bills he tried to pass in the Senate were denied by not Trump, McConnell, you know?
yeah. It's like a teacher saying that you don't do any work, but all the work that you do, they say it's not good enough.
Right, but I mean, it's like saying, "Oh, I did all this work, but Timmy stole all my work," you know, and he's not giving it back to me. You know, it's like that's how fucked up it is. You know,
Or like the dog ate your homework, but the dog was the teacher's dog.
it's preventing any. But that's the thing, Cyrus. It's politics is just games at this point. You know, which side can make the other side look worse.
Yeah,
I mean, I
because
respect.
all that it really is just money and power. It's whoever
Right,
could stay in the office for the longest amount of time. It's basically a game of capture the flag, where you just where your team just holds onto the flag for the longest time until the other team steals it. Then you go back to and then you run back to steal it back from them.
right. It's yeah. Actually, that's a really good analogy. You know, whoever could keep power the longest. But the problem with the Republicans is they play the long run game. You know. Oh, okay. So if they accept Trump's laws, they're gonna go back into the planning room and plan something else. You know, like somebody even more racist than Trump, or somebody less racist, but have some other agenda or intent. You know,
Yeah, for how the country is going, I think they're gonna need somebody a bit more moderate.
I think way more moderate than Trump because I mean, if we have a repeat of I don't know a Donald Trump, then the Democratic Party would have an easy win because everyone hates Trump and everyone would hate anyone that acts like Trump. You know.
Yeah, I
So
think they should
and
have somebody like John McCain. I was looking at this old video of John McCain when he and Obama were running against each other,
was
and
it the Muslim one where he protected him? Where this lady
yeah, I
called him a
believe
Muslim?
so. Yeah,
Yeah, okay, yeah.
yeah. If for you all at home, if you didn't see the video, basically this he was at his own rally or maybe a Republican rally. I'm not
It was a
sure.
town hall.
And this lady, what was it?
It was a town hall.
Oh, okay. And this lady comes up to him and starts saying something about, like, she didn't even say anything uh like she didn't even say anything bad about Obama, but like the thing that she thought was bad that she told him is that Obama was Muslim and all this other type of stuff. Then he took the microphone from her and said no, 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 and then he started saying how Obama's actually a good guy. The only thing that he doesn't like about him are his politics. But other than that, he thinks Obama is pretty cool, and I believe that's how a lot of our politicians should be.
I
They
mean, if
shouldn't be fighting each other. They should just be, you know, well, they shouldn't be hating each other. They should just be trying to do what's best for what they think is best for the country and leave it at that.
I agree with that, but we shouldn't be ignorant. We should we should know politics is a dirty game, and that it's not always sunshine and flowers. It's a dark game, and in a perfect society, both parties would have the same goal of bettering America, but different ways to get there, right, Cyrus?
Yeah.
But I feel like the Republican Party just wants to better themselves and their buddies rather than better the entire country, which is why this is the exact reason why they lost this election. This is why
Uh,
Joe Biden had an easy
that
win. Their negligence towards the COVID outbreak for a political gain, their negligence towards the Black Lives Matter protests, or their negligence towards the environment, the negligence towards uh just social issues in general, or trying to remove DACA, trying to you know take away social insurance from Medicare and Medicaid from millions of people, trying to take away Social Security. That's You take away those rights from Americans, and then what? What are they left with? A lot of retirement people in retirement rely on their Medicare and Medicaid and social insurance just to live. You take
and
those
you know
away,
what's
and then
funny
what?
about that?
What?
Most of the people that vote Republican are elderly.
Right, which they're voting against their own interests, which is why I have a problem with media, because media makes you vote against your own interests. That's the problem.
That's
And
why we should vote third party.
no, we should not vote third party. We should just eliminate all parties. Vote for the person we best think is fit.
Yeah, I mean that would be the best thing, but
It's never gonna happen.
looking all over the world, there's like I don't think there's any political system, or at least like a political system in a major country where there's no parties.
I don't think there's
Because
either.
as of Yeah, because as of now, the two political parties, they just have too much power. Even though that on the surface it may look like the Republicans hate everybody and just want like their people to be good. The Democrats somewhat do the same. Now, of course, they give us a bone every once in a while, but when looking at it, when looking at it from afar, they're pretty much trying to do the same as the Republicans, just keep their people in power.
But should we keep Democrats in power? That's the real thing. I mean, I feel like Democrats like Chuck Schumer and I don't know, like just just the moderate Democrats have been in there so long and accomplished almost nothing. I think they should just get rid of them. They're just useless. If your incentive is if you're just gonna cave into the Republicans, just get the fuck out of politics. Just get the fuck out.
Yeah,
You're and if you're a Republican that kisses somebody's ass, just get the fuck out of politics. You have no right to. run this country if you're just a kiss ass. There's already enough kiss asses in this world. There should be one running
But
this.
they do that so that they can remain in power. And when you have that power and that money behind you, you're not going to give up because,
I mean,
there's pretty much no reason to give up.
Cyrus, we're minorities. Imagine if we kiss ass. No, no, I don't think that's not gonna fly with us. I mean, we were taught better.
I
We
mean,
shouldn't.
some of us were.
All right, there, buddy. All right, there, buddy. All right, that's kind of
I
sus, boy.
wasn't talking about
Hey,
you.
I know you're talking about yourself.
Maybe. No,
Hey, yo, that's
I was talking more about like I don't know, more like celebrities and stuff that just especially like not like celebrities, but like people that just don't know better. Like people that just pretty much take money and do or take money from corporations or other people and just do what they say. But that isn't really a fault of their own. That's mainly because a lot of minorities, especially minorities growing up in bad neighborhoods, they need the money. So no matter what the contract says, they're going to take that money. And I feel like the
right.
same is for politicians as well. Not necessarily that they grew up in a bad situation or whatever, but they're going to take that money from whatever contract it is. It doesn't matter what the contract says, like what political agenda that politician has to push. Like let's just say, for example, a coal company gives this politician millions of dollars to fight to bring the coal mines back or whatever. It doesn't matter like what the person's actual morals are, because when they're presented with that much money, they're most 9 times out of 10 they're going to run with it because that money overpowers whatever um thoughts and ideas they had about the subject and their morals.
Right. And that goes with just money in general. Money is a big player in politics. I mean, I like to think of the businessmen as the consumers and the politicians as their tools. Like which tool do I need today, and which tool would I
Yeah.
buy? You know, is technically it's not even the politicians are doing this. It's uh the the corporations that have their hand in politics. They
Politicians are being bought and sold like slaves. And it's the Republican Party that's not the Republican Party, but the in America the Republican and Democratic Party. Those are the slave owners.
I want to say they're the slave owners. Uh, hmm, I I think we should just after this election, I think we should become more self-educated. And whichever
About what?
self-educated on who's running. Like do more research on who's running rather than relying on the media. Go on
Yeah, I mean,
websites.
people like me and you do that, but what's going to encourage other people that aren't as politically inclined to do that?
And that's and that's where we get to the issue, because you could give them all these convincing points, but their end response would be, "Oh, I'm not political." Like, what do you mean you're not political? Politics affects your whole entire life.
No, it doesn't.
Shut up, you libertarian.
You didn't even vote.
I can't vote. I'm 17. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But next year I'll be able to vote, even though there won't be any election.
But it's more important elections that's coming up, even
What?
not the presidential election, local elections, and that's
Yeah,
what
local.
people should really be focused on.
Yeah,
Even though
because
that
the
the you go ahead.
yes. So the local levels determine what kind of laws your state has, and most of the laws your state has can't be bypassed by the federal or Supreme Court. So
Yeah,
if you really care, you should really vote. Do some research on your local politicians. Just don't accept what everyone tells you. Just do your own research, critically think for yourself, and once you critically think for yourself and deduce all your just pick which politician aligns with your morals and that you believe is best for your either city or
community.
community. You know,
Yeah, because for especially for minorities and lower class citizens, local elections are going to be the elections that help you out the most. Because when it comes to presidential elections, they're mostly focused on helping out middle and higher class citizens, and sometimes they will help us out, but not to the extent that they'll help us out of the hole that politicians in the past dig for us or dug for us. uh, because when it comes to the local elections, they can actually help out individual communities rather than trying to help a city or a state or an entire country as a whole. Because when you divide up the work and divide up how different communities are going to be helped, you can help them out more than just giving a blanket statement or law over an entire country.
because don't you want to run for Alderman Cyrus?
Yeah.
Why is that?
I want to run just to help out the people in my community and the people that I grew up with, because growing up as a kid, and I'm not going to say the neighborhood, but growing up
Just say the
in
neighborhood.
no, I want people
Uh,
knowing where I live. Growing up in on the bad side of Chicago, I
63rd.
I didn't grow up near Parkland, I mean Parkway Gardens, but that's the area I want to help out. That and Woodlawn, because those are the areas, as far as I know, that have the most have like probably the
They're
lowest
the most
class
economically
citizens. Yeah, most
depressed.
economically yeah, depressed. And I'm pretty sure they don't know that much about their local officials and stuff, because going through there, you could just drive through there and see not much has changed in the past 20 years. Growing up there, I would think stuff would get better like as time progressed, but the deeper I go into the area, the worse I see it become. So it's like, what are the local officials doing? They're just sitting on their behind, just collecting their uh their 100K salary, and letting their community go to waste. So I want to step in so that I can actually help out the people that need the help the most.
So I would say if you actually do help these people out and actually
These
have
people,
what you don't give us the neighborhood, so we're gonna refer to them as these people. Okay, the people in this Chicago neighborhood. All right, if you actually help them out and at least be their spokesman, be their protector, and actually fight for their education, fight for i- incentives that gives them jobs, and that I think
yeah,
there
and
is a possible
especially
chance that
building.
you could actually build up that neighborhood. Like
Yeah, that's what I was
I hope you
hoping
don't
to
build
do.
it up to
Like,
the point where it's gentrified, but just build it up where they could at least
no,
thrive.
what I
A
would
lot of
hope to do is hold on, I'm gonna let you finish. But what I was hoping to do was in order to bring it up, I would I this still has to be planned out and everything, but hopefully create jobs that require little to no education so that the people around there could easily get jobs. even if they're an ex-convict, because a lot of ex-cons, they have trouble getting jobs, and especially housing, when it comes to when it in those certain areas. That's why there's a lot of homeless people. That's why there's a lot of, especially a lot of crime in the area, because they can't work to earn a living. So that's why a lot of ex-convicts, instead of getting a job, they just go right back to crime. Not because they're a criminal and they have a criminal mindset, but because that's the only way to get by.
Right, because once employers see that you're a felon, there goes your chances of getting a job for them, you know?
Yeah,
And because there's already a scarce amount of jobs in, in that neighborhood, you can't really find one. And sadly, a lot of those people don't have access to internet and uh t you know, cable. So then any news or any like way for them to get a job is just gone, you know? They actually have
yeah,
to physically go and look for work instead of sitting in the comfort of their own home and just looking, you know? And then if you physically go out every day of your life looking for a job, it starts to tire you, you know? And we're going to get into this the economic principle of unemployment. And the problem with unemployment, the unemployment rate is it doesn't count discouraged workers. You know, you could look for, I don't know, a couple of months for a job. And once you become discouraged, you're not in the labor force anymore. You know, you're not counted. And because you're not in the labor force anymore, any benefits that will go towards you will just stop. You know, you could rely on unemployment benefits like transfer payments from the government, but how long can you live off of them without? And how long can you live without them? And that's like the big key. A lot of people ignore the economics and go straight to the social issues. You know,
yeah,
a lot of the rich people or like people who say money doesn't bring happiness, that's just not true. You know, if you could pay your bills, if you
it may not
could
bring happiness, but it sure does bring stability.
it does bring stability. And if you're stable, you're happy because if you could bring food home to your children, if you could pay your bills on time, if you have a good credit score, and if you could pay your rent and your other bills on time, you know, then
Yeah,
you're stable and in a good place, you know. And if money is not that much of a worry, then your children won't have to worry about it, you know, like worry about if they're going to school or not. Because if they stop going to school, then they result to either low paying jobs or crime, you know? And I like to think of I know a lot of gang members, and a lot of them don't even join for the thrill of doing bad. They do it because it pays
especially
more than
the older people.
yeah, they do it because it pays, you know?
Yeah,
It actually pays a lot, and they rather do that than work a minimum wage job at McDonald's, you know? Minimum
yeah.
wage
And
isn't
even
nothing.
if
You
it
can't get
didn't pay a lot, they would still do it because it's easier to join a gang than it is to get a job.
right. It just takes the initiation and you're in. And this is where we go back to Joe Biden. All right. So Biden can be our savior from Trump, but will he be the savior we need for the economically depressed and the middle class that have been affected by the loss of manufacturing? And this is where we have to wait and see because Trump in 2016 promised to bring back manufacturing to Michigan and Wisconsin and Ohio, but only 1% came back. And out of that 1%, not much has happened. They're still economically depressed and they're still struggling to pay the bills in Wisconsin and Michigan and Ohio. And
And
that's
this
what
was even before COVID.
this was before COVID, you know? Like all they care about, all those residents care about is their manufacturing jobs or keep having a job. They're not worried about social issues. They're worried about who can bring their jobs back to them. And that's where Hillary Clinton failed in 2016. She went to Michigan and failed to address bringing back manufacturing jobs. And you know what? She lost. She lost Michigan. She lost Wisconsin. Wait, did she lose Wisconsin?
I don't know.
Yeah,
All that we know is she lost the election.
yeah, she lost the election because she failed to address it. And the reason Trump was so successful in 2016 was because he brought him hope. And when people have hope, then they start, siding with you. You give them hope, they start siding with you. And frankly,
Yeah,
after a disastrous 4 years with Trump, I think a lot of America was hopeless. I think they started to believe that everything was hopeless and started to give up on politics. And that's how they really settled for Biden because if another 4 years of Trump would have been a disaster for the country, in my opinion. And at least Biden gives us some breathing room to really reflect on what we could do better for the country. You know, Biden might not be the
yeah,
best candidate, but he
definitely not.
definitely not. But at least he gives us some breathing room, right, Cyrus?
Sure,
I mean, did you
but
like Joe
yeah,
Jorgensen?
uh, JoJo was I like some of Joe's policies, but some of her other policies they were too libertarian for me because I'm like the subset of libertarians that are just for more like like the basic sense for me. I'm just more like I guess liberally social and more conservatively economic basically. I'm not like the crazy libertarian that says like let's demolish the government and all that other stuff because
I,
one of I think uh I'm not sh- I'm not sure exactly what it was, but for her I think for her for her healthcare plan, I think she was all laissez-faire about it. Like the government doesn't do anything with healthcare. Like they're hands off and just let the companies, the insurance companies battle it out, which which on paper it sounds like a good plan,
but we're
but
talking
when you
about
really
companies.
think about
Companies
it,
don't really have the best intentions
I know
when it
that's what I
comes to
was
people.
saying.
Uh huh.
When it comes on paper, it sounds like a good plan because you would think insurance companies would just lower the prices so that more customers go to them and buy their insurance plans. But when you think about it, and when you think about how important insurance is, uh, I I think they will end up increasing their prices, like doing what's the what's it called? Not a monopoly, but like trust. That's the phrase for it, right? Trust when
Oh,
companies like join together and like agree to raise their prices and stuff.
it's a monopoly. Oh wait, it's not a monopoly. I forgot what's called.
Well, I forgot the term of it, but basically, I believe those companies would just go behind the public's back and make a handshake together to increase their prices so that they always have a higher profit margin than when the government was controlling it.
And that's why I kind of have a problem with libertarianism. I mean, sure, it's good, less government control on the people, like taxes, blah, blah, blah. But it also gives a lot of power to the corporations. And
Yeah,
knowing corporations, they don't have the best intentions.
yeah.
So,
For me, I like the government hands off of businesses, but that's only for small businesses. I believe the government should somewhat regulate larger corporations, the big business types. But when it
oh, it's
comes to
called
like
price fixing.
family, what do you
Sorry.
say?
I remember it's called price fixing, where all the companies agree to raise their prices.
Yeah.
All right.
But for me, like if I was in charge, I would still make sure, and actually I'll probably enforce even more what companies can and can't do, like monetarily wise. Like I don't really care like what their product is or whatever, unless if it comes to pharmaceutical companies, because pharmaceutical companies, they've been causing a lot of trouble
No, they
for
need to
people
be
in the
regulated
US.
to fuck. You know,
Yeah.
they're out of control. Those
Yeah,
millions of
out of all the companies, pharmaceuticals, they need to be like, I can't even believe I'm saying this, but I think it should be like communist regulated levels for pharmaceutical companies.
yeah, because of all those people they caused to die because of their negligence, and
Yeah, fentanyl.
they didn't even give a flying fuck about them. They only cared about the money they were receiving.
Yeah, because basically what they do, I forgot where I heard this from, but basically what they do is they make a new drug, and they look at how many people will get addicted, how many people will probably die from it, and then they look at how much they'll get sued for it, and they're like, okay, we'll get sued like 2 billion for this, but but their profit, or like how much they make off of selling the drug is 10 billion. So 10 billion minus 2 billion, still a profit
Eight
of eight
billion
billion.
profit. It's still eight
Yeah.
billion profit.
So
Is it?
yeah, so they don't care about what happens to the people, because in the end they're still making money.
I mean, also pharmaceutical companies. When their patent ends, they create a new way to manufacture the medicine or whatever they're manufacturing
What do you
to
mean?
patent that. You know, so insulin, they made a new way to manufacture insulin. Or so once they made that new manufacturing process, they patented it and they still have a monopoly for it, you know? And they're going to keep doing that. They have a monopoly
Right,
towards
because
most of the
insulin is
drugs.
just one company, right?
Yeah, so insulin is inelastic, so a lot, there's either two things that people with diabetes could do. Okay, they could either buy insulin or die. There's no in between. You know, you can't skip on that.
Yeah. And
So
I think
because
that's
it's
even worse than the insurance companies.
yeah, because even if they raise prices, people are still or people with diabetes will still have to buy that to stay alive. You know, they could
Yeah.
rip off all these insurance companies, but the deductible will be super expensive.
Yeah. Because isn't it with healthcare, with insurance and stuff, like the like if you have pre-existing conditions, it's going to cost you more.
Cost you way more.
Yeah.
I mean, my pre-existing condition probably gonna have a monster of a bill once I become independent and have my own health insurance,
Yeah.
all those checkups and stuff.
Yeah. If nothing, this is like waking thinking far ahead. Like if nothing changes, make sure that you work for the city or state just to get all of those benefits.
I mean, yeah, if it doesn't work, I'll just either work for a city. I'll probably be a city economist or probably work for an engineering company.
Yeah.
One of those two, because like I said, if the company doesn't work, then you know I have other plans, backup plans. That's
Yeah.
what it should be. I wonder what Biden's gonna do for healthcare. I don't know if he's either gonna make. I know he's against
Did did we get
affordable.
rid of the Affordable Healthcare Act, or is it
No,
still
Obamacare is still alive. They're trying to dismantle it. I wonder like what Biden's gonna do for the Affordable Health Care Act. He's probably gonna expand it to more people. I I just assume. But I wonder
what's
if
more people, like richer people?
no, like poor people, poor to
Oh,
middle class people.
I thought that's what it was for. It was for like the
No, but like
poorest people in
expand it to more
America.
people, like immigrants and other stuff. You know. Like everyone
Okay,
could
like
have it. You don't have
undocumented people.
yeah, so everyone could have it, not just, the people who apply for it. I wonder if that's
Yeah.
gonna work or you're gonna it's still gonna be an application.
I thought that Obamacare was somewhat forced, and that's why people didn't like it because people were forced to get health care.
No, people didn't like Obamacare because it was made by a black man. Remember
I mean,
by
I
the
guess, but
I mean Ben Carson literally said Obamacare is worse than slavery. And Ben Carson's black.
well,
Like
Ben Carson is old enough to be a slave. Wait, how old is Ben Carson?
Ben Carson's like 40 or maybe like almost 60, maybe 50 something.
Oh, he's 70. Why did I think he was like
Ben Carson
80 or
70?
90? Well, he's
No,
69 right now.
Ben Carson 69. I thought he was 50.
Yeah, he doesn't look old at all. I mean, I think I was thinking. Oh, I think I was thinking of Herman Cain, the guy that passed away this year.
Oh, that dumbass should have worn a mask.
But Herman
And
Cain is only 6 years older than him. I don't know why I
so
keep on thinking these politicians are so old.
these politicians are old. Technically, he's not a politician because he's pretty fucking stupid when it comes to politics.
No, the stupidest thing that I've heard, well, probably not the stupidest, but one of the most stupidest, is that they made a doctor the security of housing and urban development. Like, how
You
do
know,
those
have
two even correlate?
have you ever seen the interview or no? They were actually interviewing him, and he didn't even know what the or REO is. REOs. He thought you know what REOs is, right, Cyrus?
No.
All right, doesn't even matter. All right, so it's the HUD. Um, the people who run HUD should know that because it revolves around housing, and he didn't know that. So it literally tells you how incompetent he is. He should have just stayed a surgeon. I mean, I wouldn't trust him near my brain whatsoever, but he should have just stayed a surgeon.
Why? Just because he's black?
Not because he's black, because he's a fucking moron. Do you want somebody that licks their hands preparing your food, Cyrus?
I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of people do it that prepare my food. I
Jesus
go to the
Christ,
restaurant
Cyrus.
a lot.
Jesus Christ. Ah, yes, just yes. They lick your spoon before serving you.
What? Don't
Yeah.
you wash your hands in the toilet before you prepare your food?
Oh, you're right. You're right. I wash my hands in the toilet. Yeah,
I
but
mean, that's
wait.
only running water in my house.
Hey, so do you have to reuse that water for your bath water?
Yeah, and that water runs so well. Once the police show up to my house, it just flushes itself.
Fucking dumbass.
And we're off the air.
We got canceled already.
On our first episode.
Yeah, but I think ending note is that Biden was Biden's win is really good for the country. I'm just curious of what he's actually gonna do because
Yeah.
McConnell may still be the Senate majority. So I wonder if he's gonna do most of his acts through executive order.
Yeah. I
And
don't have high hopes for Biden, but I hope he proves me wrong and does good for the country.
he will do good for
And
he
by
will do good for
Biden,
the country because he's
yeah, and
gonna
by Biden I mean Kamala because we know Biden isn't gonna make it.
Biden will probably either die in office or resign because he's too old. No, actually, he might not resign because Nancy Pelosi's 80 and she's
He
still the
probably
Speaker of the
forgot
House.
how to resign.
Nah, I mean, look at. Would you rather have someone like Biden running this country who is familiar with politics, is familiar with the inner workings of the U.S. government and the presidency, or would you have someone as stupid as Trump.
Biden isn't even familiar with himself. But
Stop
yeah,
with these
I
fucking
guess
jokes, dude. You're
Biden.
literally getting them from Fox News and Infowars. Get out of here. I thought you were better. Biden, Sleepy Joe. Shut up, dude. It's yeah. I have high hopes for Biden. I hope he doesn't let the country
You
down,
do?
and yeah, I have high hopes because after he's probably gonna be no, he's most likely gonna be a one-term president. So
Yeah, definitely. Because I
definitely,
can't imagine Biden being president at 82. That'll make him the oldest serving president.
82.
Yeah.
Damn. But like I said, if he no, because if Biden proves himself right, and if he proves himself to be, and if he gives a good reputation to the Democratic Party, this this will create a cycle and wave of new and fresh Democratic candidates that could run for president, and
I
and
feel like
actually
Bernie did that. Like
Bernie.
not with anything that he did in office or anything, but with how he influenced the younger generation.
Bernie was a big influence with the younger generation. Big,
I
big,
know
big.
that's why I'm saying. Like he influenced a lot of people our age and probably even younger than us to fight for I guess like fight for our rights, I guess. Even though I don't agree with a lot of his political stances, I do like how he influenced the younger generation. At least he influenced the younger generation to go out and vote and do better for themselves and create a country that's better for themselves.
The thing with the 2020 election and the 2016 election was Bernie actually ran in 2016 to uh to win the presidency, but because he failed that, he tried again in 2019. But I feel like the real reason he ran in 2019 was to actually influence the
Yeah,
younger
that's what I was
voters.
telling. That's what I was telling you before, not in the podcast, but a few days ago, I was telling you he didn't have any intention of winning this election. His intention was to influence people like us to vote, to like think like
Vote
him
blue.
somewhat and
Yeah,
vote. Yeah, and vote in like the elections to come.
yeah, because a powerful voter is an educated one. So it really goes back on whether whether the people could actually critically think for themselves and actually know what they want instead of voting against their own. Oh, yeah. Okay. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah, but with I think it's really too early to it's really too early to like start assuming what Biden's gonna do in the future once he fixed the disaster Trump left. It really could go both ways. I hope he keeps his word. You know.
Yeah,
Mm.
me too. Because all I want is what's best for America. I don't care. In the end, I don't care about whether it's Republicans in the office, Democrat, Libertarian, Green Party. It doesn't matter to
Whoever's
me.
intention is to help America should be president of the United States, no doubt. If their own heart is for the betterment of America, hell yes, sign me up for them. And
Heart of gold, not heart of the old.
heart of the old, heart won't be beating in like a couple of years.
No.
Yeah, I think we're just gonna have to wait. But
Yeah,
I guess just stay educated, guys. Think for yourself.
yeah. And anyway, that's been 1.5 Mexicans. We'll see you guys next week. Later.